Now we're moving on to the general term, or the nth term. And this is a way of us finding out what a term is in a sequence without having to continuously add the pattern each time. This table is going to help us to map out that and find the rule. So we need to remember that a linear pattern is a sequence that increases or decreases by the same amount each time. So we first need to find what the difference is. Now looking at this question, it's very obvious that we're just adding 2 each time, and it's a linear sequence. So if we wanted to find out what the rule was for this sequence, we fill in the table below. Each term is called term 1, term 2, term 3, term 4, and term 5. Now, if we need to find T6, for example, and so on, straight away finding the next 3 terms will be very easy because all we do is add 2, then add another 2, then add another 2. But what if we wanted to find the 74th term? How would we do that? Well, this is where we fill in the table and find out what's the rule, what's happening each time to the sequence, and that way we'll be able to find it. So this is where term 1 will go, term 2, term 3, term 4, and term 5. Now we populate this table, so it's the difference multiplied by the term, and we know what the term is because we have them written here. So using these terms, we multiply each one by the difference, which we know is 2. So let's do that now. It's 2 times 1, 2 times 2, 2 times 3, 2 times 4, and 2 times 5. And each one will give us an answer. So we've 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10. And that in itself reveals a pattern, an increase of 2 each time. Now we take the term that we've gotten, which is 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10, and we write them in here again. 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10. And we subtract 1 away from each one. So minus 1, minus 1, minus 1, minus 1, and minus 1. And they should reveal to us each term. So let's see. 2 take away 1, 1. 4 take away 1, 3. 6 take away 1, 5. 8 take away 1, 7. 10 take away 1, 9. So we've now found out that 2 multiplied by the term, whichever the term is, will give me the sequence. So my rule is 2 times 1 take away 1 will give me 1. 2 times 2, which is 4, take away 1 will give me 3. Then 2 times 3, which is 6, take away 1 will give me 5. 2 times 4, which is 8, take away 1 will give me 7. And 2 times 5, which we know is 10, take away 1 will give me 9. Now this will reveal to me that if I wanted to find the 74th term of the sequence, I now have the rule. So whatever the term is, I multiply it by 2, I take away 1, and I get the next number in the sequence. So let's apply that now to the 74th term. Now let's apply our rule and see, can we verify that the next 2 terms are 11 and 13. So by adding on 2, I have 11 for term 6 and 13 for term 7. Now, that's easy because it's the next 2 terms, but we want to find the 74th term. we now have our rule. So our rule is that Tn equals 2 times the term n take away 1. And n is a variable. That means that n is whatever term we're looking for, and in this case we're looking for the 74th. So n is 74. So let's fill that in now. So t of 74, and very similar to how we did it over here, we fill in 74 and solve. So t of 74 equals 2 times 74 take away 1. And now we apply our rules of BIMDAS. And when you do that, you will get 147. And that is how you find the 74th, or the general term. Also guys, just to note that this -1, it's not always -1. That number can change based on what goes in here. So for instance, it's -1 in this case because we have a 2 and we need to get to a 1, which is in the sequence here. Well, 2 take away 1 is 1. If I'm at 4 and I need to get to 3, I get take away 1 because 3 is the term 2. So this -1 is not always going to be -1 and has to match to the sequence. So this is your difference times your term, and you need to find out, well, what do you do to that number to get the sequence, and then that will lead you to your rule. Okay, so Tn, or the general term of a sequence, is an algebraic formula, and I told you that this is your first introduction to algebra a couple of days ago. So basically, you're going to use n and substitute in, and then solve using BIMDAS. So it's nothing you haven't seen before except for the word substitution. If you think of it like a GAA or a soccer team, you're subbing someone in, you're putting them into a game. You're doing the same thing here. You're putting a number in to a sequence. Right, so let's start off. My term is Tn equal to 5n minus 1. So that just means that for some sequence, we don't know what the sequence is, the rule that we found was that it's 5 times the term take away 1. Okay, they want us to find the first, the second, and the 10th term of the sequence. So straight away, we're looking for t of 1. So that equals to 5 times 1 take away 5. And we know from BIMDAS that we must do our brackets first. So 5 times 1, well, it's 5. Take away 1 is 4. So the first number of the sequence is 4. Now let's find the second term of the sequence. So t of number 2 equals to, well, 5 times 2, which we know is 10. Take away 1, which we know is 9. So 10 take away 1 is 9. So straight away, my second term is 9. Now, we need to move all along and find the 10th term. So, see, can you pause the video now and see, can you find the 10th term before I do? So, t of 10, because we're looking for the 10th term, equals, well, 5 times 10, which we know is 50, take away 1, which we also know is 49. So the 10th term is 49. Now we're looking at the general term formula. And I told you all that this was in the log tables that's given to you for your junior cert. So there is absolutely no need to learn this off. But what we do need to be very familiar with is what each letter stands for and how we solve it. This is used when you want to find a term you have the sequence and you can find the common difference. You need all three of them to fully substitute this. So D, like I told you all, is the common difference, and think of difference as D. A then is the start term, and if we think of, well, A is the first letter of the alphabet, A is the first number of this sequence. And you can't go wrong if you remember those two tricks. So let's write out our formula again. And every time you do these questions, make sure you write out the formula. It's good practice and you'll make sure that you don't go wrong. Now we're going back into a bit of algebra again, and we're going to be looking at substitution. So your key skill in this task is substitution. And it's a key skill of algebra that you will use going forward. So let's sub in. What is the common difference? Well, straight away it's minus 2, because I'm taking away 2 each time. So my D is minus 2, and my A, well, we know A is the start term, so A equals 22. And my N is the nth term. What am I looking for? And we know that this is 50. So N is 50. And now I can sub into my formula. So T of N, which I know is 50, equals, well, A, which I know is 22. It's 22 plus N, which is 50. Take away 1, multiplied by the common difference of minus 2. Now we simply use BIMDAS again. So I have, well, 22 stays there. Deal with my brackets first. Well, 50 minus 1 is 49, multiplied by minus 2. 49 multiplied by minus 2 is minus 98. So you've 22 minus 98, which is 76, which is minus 76. And that makes sense because you're going back 2 each time, so the 50th term should be a negative number.